Spooky Tuesday.
Here's to swimming with bow-legged women.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff.
This week is our own Shark Week.
It is Shark Week foreplay. We are getting everybody warmed up for Shark Week to start, just as we're winding down this episode.
It's also you're forgetting to say it is Sharky 1 week.
Or it's Sharky Tuesday.
Sharky Tuesday.
Sure.
I do like Sharky 1 week.
Sharky
I
one
like Sharky
week.
one
I
week.
kind of like Sharky 1 week. Look.
I like Sharky 1 week too. Okay, I've been trying to make Sharky 1 week happen, even though it's objectively a very bad hashtag. But I
But
like it because it's quirky.
And it harkens back to Sharky 2 Sharky 2's week, Shark 2 weeks last year. And I tried to really pitch another 2 weeks, and I unfortunately did not get my idea accepted. So I think the Sharky 1 week, it brings the spirit of it. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'll accept that, but I also am pushing Sharky 1 week. So
I think it's going to have to be Sharky 1 week because there's only 1 week of shark movies. And that 1 week of shark movies is the shark movie. Like,
Yeah.
when you think of a
It's the
shark
one.
movie, which one do you think of? Jaws.
I think of Sharknado actually,
I'm
but
also going to make a Sharknado joke.
but we
But
couldn't
yeah,
have
yeah.
had the cinematic masterpiece Sharknado if Jaws hadn't paved the way in
Sure.
1975.
And we couldn't have had Jaws if 47 Meters Down and 47 Meters Down Uncaged hadn't paved the way on this podcast. So
I will
Okay.
stand by my love of 47 Meters Down Uncaged.
it's so
Until I
good.
die.
It does slap. It does slap. It's
Look,
like
what do you
it's
want from
like-
us?
It is bad in a good way. So that's why we love it.
Okay, but if you haven't seen the quintessential shark movie, if all you've ever seen were maybe all of the shark sci-fi movies that also slap, maybe you've only seen,
Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus.
oh yes, or there's Ghost Shark.
I haven't
Santa
seen that
Jaws
one.
is my personal favorite holiday movie that we will do at some point.
At some point.
And then, oh, there's all the other, like, there's the one with Blake Lively in the shark.
I didn't like that one that much.
I don't even-
Well,
Oh,
I got bored, I
Shallows, the
guess. Yeah.
Shallows or something.
But like, this
Mm.
is the bad boy. This is
The
Jaws
OG.
75.
Yeah.
We're in a lot
She's
of
that
voices
bitch.
this
She's that
episode.
bitch.
She's that bitch. Okay, so if you haven't seen Jaws, I mean, come on, Universal Studios in Orlando had its own ride for like a really long time about it, so you got to know about it. IMDb says, when a killer shark unleashes chaos on a beach community off Long Island, it's up to a local sheriff, a marine biologist, and an old seafarer to hunt the beast down.
That's
Which
a great description.
I think that's a really good description. It doesn't, I mean, it kind of
it's
gives
not
too much stuff
superfluous.
away, but
Yeah, but like, what did you think it was
like,
gonna
it's a
be?
shark
You know what I
movie,
mean?
you
It's
know?
not like
It's a
Black
shark
Phone
movie.
last week where it gave away everything. You know what I mean? It told you exactly what was gonna happen at every step of the movie for the most part. This one is like, we told you, but could you have expected anything different? Where did you think it was gonna go?
I will
It's a
say
monster movie.
the poster of this movie does give everything away, unfortunately, though.
Oh yeah.
Quickly
Oh no,
Googling
the
Jaws
shark's gonna
poster.
eat that girl.
Oh no, the shark's gonna eat that girl.
Oh shit.
That's
That
the
shark's
whole
gonna
plot
eat
of the
that,
movie.
That's the
that
main
girl.
plot point. Oh no.
Like
Oh
this is in the
my
first
God.
5
This
minutes
is the
of the
SVU
movie.
cold open.
The opening of this movie is so good. But before we get to that, Sydney, why are we doing Jaws?
Okay.
Besides Sharky 1 week.
Besides some good shark foreplay, and this movie being that bitch, as Chelsea was saying, one of my ex-boyfriends who I haven't, one of my high school ex-boyfriends.
And where is he in the ranking?
Oh, he's my second least favorite ex-boyfriend.
So could be worse,
So
but
not
not
the
great.
worst.
Not great.
Could be worse, not great. He was like, "Hey, when are you gonna cover Jaws on your podcast?" And I was like,
And
right now, why not? Fuck it.
yeah,
Hello.
we did indulge him. We did have a little surprise conference call with him approximately 5 minutes ago. So he's
I
really
wasn't
involved in this
expecting it.
episode.
Here's the
Me
thing.
Yeah.
either. He just like randomly called, I think.
When you speak of the devil, they will
my
come
God.
calling.
Well, then why are we indulging him? Oh my gosh. Well, I hope
funny and we're friends now,
yeah.
I guess.
He should appreciate. He should know how much we are doing for him and be very grateful. Maybe
Ben-
some flowers to us, all three.
Ben, you have to
Oh,
send
yeah.
flowers to all three of us.
Ben, if you're listening.
Yeah, Ben, if you are listening, send us flowers. If you aren't,
Ben better
listening, what the
fucking be
fuck?
listening. Are
I
you
would like
kidding
a
me?
floral wreath maybe for my door. And if he could put some little plastic sharks in there,
I want
that'd be
to.
fun.
If we did Jaws for your ex-boyfriend and your ex-boyfriend didn't listen to the
I want a gifty.
episode, I would find where he lives and throw hands.
Yeah, if he doesn't listen and then leave us a Jaws theme haiku,
Haiku.
as a
Haiku review, a
review.
Jaws theme haiku review from Sydney's ex-boyfriend.
Ben.
Ben, the gauntlet's been thrown down. Come on, let's go.
Enough about him though.
Here, let me bring. Well, okay. One thing I just want to say really
Oh,
quickly:
please.
if my ex-boyfriend is listening,
Shut
if
up.
you request a movie, I'm not. You're not gonna get this. You're not gonna get this. You're not. So just so you know, sorry.
You must
Anyway.
be the number one least favorite ex-boyfriend, because my number one least favorite ex-boyfriend isn't gonna get his request, but the second one, sure, why not?
We'll throw a
Yeah,
bonus
sorry.
way.
This
We'll
is
throw
a
a
one-time
fin
deal.
his way.
I can't.
We'll throw a leg.
shark tooth his way. Oh, a leg. That's a good one.
I want to start out this episode talking about the first scene with something that my current boyfriend said that was so dumb that I
no. What
did
almost
Adam
made
say?
him my ex-boyfriend.
Least favorite
In the
now.
theme,
New
my
ranking.
least favorite current boyfriend, Adam. No,
Uh-huh.
I'm kidding. I love you, Adam. I'm sorry. That was so mean.
He's not listening. It's okay.
He's least favorite by default. And also
Yeah.
most
'Cause
favorite
of
by
the-
default.
yeah.
But he occupies
The
both space.
duality of
Duality of
man.
man.
Duality- Love you, girl. Anyway. Anyway, I watched this movie last night, like late, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go watch Jaws. He didn't want to watch it with me, and he was like, oh shit, like keep your eye out on the opening scene. You get to see Salma Hayek naked, and I was like, what? I was like, Adam,
What?
I was like, who? He was like, Salma Hayek. She's in the beginning of that movie, and she's naked. And I was
the
like-
white lady at the beginning of the movie.
I
is
was
The
like,
Salma
Adam,
Hayek.
I was like, Adam, do you know when Jaws came out? He was like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know if Salma Hayek's in it. I was like, Adam, it was at the latest in the 80s. I can't remember right now. At the latest in the 80s, Salma Hayek was like a child then. And so I looked it up. 1975 is when this movie came out. She was born 9 years prior, so she would have been 9 years old in 1975. Adam's trying to tell me that she's the naked woman at the beginning. I was like,
She's like
baby,
bush
like,
out at 9 years old in this movie.
I was like,
Adam!
this movie would not be allowed to be distributed if that was the case, honey. So no. So we're still trying to figure out what movie he was talking about, but it certainly wasn't Jaws.
Do you think somebody just like played a prank on him at one point and did a fun little lie and he believed it? Should we start lying to Adam about all kinds of fun Salma Hayek facts?
I mean, we should obviously lie to Adam because we should just do that for fun anyways. J for L, just for laughs.
I want to look up like which horror movies she's in and maybe we can figure it out. But like,
is it from Dusk Till Dawn?
Dusk Till Dawn is what I was thinking.
She plays
the faculty, as you know.
And snakes are
oh yeah, he was thinking of the classic film she's in called The Hunchback. Oh no, he was thinking of
the classic
House of Gucci. Why are these coming up as horror movies, by the way? Oh yes, The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. That's the movie that he's thinking of. No, he's definitely thinking of From Dusk Till Dawn, which does not have sharks.
Yeah,
it's
no sharks
about
that I
vampires.
But Salma Hayek was in Savages with Blake Lively, who was then in a shark movie. So
that must be what he was thinking of. That must be it.
Thank you for making him seem a little less insane.
We should do that at some point for throuple purposes.
I love that movie.
We love an OT3.
I haven't seen it. Either way.
I think men should not have two girlfriends, but I think women should only have two boyfriends. I think that's
the case in that movie.
Yeah.
It's important representation.
Exactly.
No, I can't help but agree with that.
Sorry.
That said, we could talk about the movie now after we're done roasting all of our current ex-boyfriends. But there is nudity in the first scene of this movie. It is a great opening, but it's not Salma Hayek. It is actually a stunt woman that Steven Spielberg hired for this role. She was not an actress. She was a stunt woman. And so she could take all the hits that she sustained immediately in this film. And she fucking bodied it, honestly. It was a really good opening. I was fucking scared.
This opening was so good. One, how creepy was it that the drunk guy was just like staring at first? Like, before anybody gets into the ocean, we just like see this guy just like, and then you pan to a girl and you're like, oh, gross. Oh,
why is she like sitting next to the trash can by herself? Also, just saying. Like everybody's in a circle chilling and she's like 5 feet away from everyone else sitting next to the trash can having a staring contest with Blondie Boy.
She's playing hard to get. She said, I'm going to do that little glance away when he looks over. He has to get on his knees in front of me. He has to come over to the trash if he wants to talk to me. And then he has to get naked and then go in the ocean. I think those are all reasonable requests of a man.
Chrissy is just elusive. And that man does not deserve her because she's tons of fun. Okay. She's like, we're going on a drunken like daybreak because the sun is coming up romp right now. And we're going to run really fast and we're going to go swimming. That sounds amazing. That sounds great. Except for the running really fast part.
Yeah.
Did they not know at the time that like you never go swimming like at night or like in the early morning? Drunk? Oh no, not even drunk. Just like normally like that's when sharks feed is like at night, like at like night when the sun goes down and like when they come up are like big like feeding times. And I don't know if that's true, but that's just what we were always told. So maybe that's just
he says that. No. The biologist says that in the movie. He says we have to go out at night. That's their feeding time.
Okay.
Not directly that, but he says it with
somebody was paying attention.
Voice. Not for all of it, but for that part.
But I know I immediately texted y'all. I was like, oh my God, great bush. We needed to
start
doing more.
I also didn't notice it. Yeah, you texted that. I watched it the next day and I was like, I'm not really peeping much other than silhouette. Oh. But then IMDb trivia, first of all, IMDb trivia is so fucking long for this movie. Everybody's got something to say, including they didn't mention that lady was a stunt double though, but they did mention that she had posed nude in Playboy in 1973 and that she sent that picture to Steven Spielberg to be like, see? And I don't know what that is implying or if that is correct, although maybe they knew that it was
she was going to be bush out.
Yeah, so she was like, here's my bush. I don't know. She posed naked again after that, like 2 years later, to be like, naked
looked
lady
great.
from Jaws, naked again. So good for her.
No complaints with her performance. Incredible performance. Very sad opening. Very, very horrifying. I like, because one of the big things about this movie that like there's so this movie's so ubiquitous, like people know the facts, you know. So we're gonna talk about some of the facts, but we're mostly gonna say bullshit, you know. It's Spooky Tuesday. Welcome.
Yeah, you guys know what you're getting into.
You guys know.
Take it with a grain of salt, but also everything we say is objectively true.
But like this is one of those classic like Hollywood fuck up movies where like all they did was pour hundreds of thousands of dollars into these animatronic sharks for this movie. 3 of them. They're each like $100,000 plus, every single one of them, all 3. And they tested them all in like tub of normal water.
Yeah, like the tank at Universal Studios, basically.
And then they took them out into the fucking ocean, and the salt. You heard about salt in the ocean? You know about that thing where there's salt in the ocean?
Yeah.
Well, it's not good for machinery. That's why everything rusts when you're by the beach. And so Bruce the shark, that's what they called him, Bruce, just fucking he
just
fucked up left and right. He walked left and right. He sunk to the bottom of the thing a bunch of times. Apparently his jaw malfunctioned one time and almost ate George Lucas. That was at Universal, but still.
That's because they were fucking around and then they found out.
And then they found out. Yeah, you're
yeah,
totally
that's
right.
like a hand problem, not a shark problem.
That one's on them.
But they were supposed to be using these sharks all the fucking time, the whole movie long, but they couldn't because they sucked super bad and they looked like shit. And so they had to get creative. They look pretty shitty. Like at the end, they do a good job with it, but it looks like, if you look at the prop, you're like, oh my God, if I had seen that a few too many times, this would have lost all the spooky allure. I think seeing the monster less is always the best. Oh, it's a rhyme.
I mean,
it's a rhyme, so it's true.
But here, like, again, you don't see the shark until like an hour and 20 minutes into the movie.
Just sexy little glimpses before that. That's its own shark foreplay. This whole movie, both for Shark Week upcoming and for Shark within the film itself. Wow.
It's a lot of shark foreplay.
I think that one big shark scary moment, you don't really notice the shark so much, but then when the shark launches itself onto the boat, you're like, yeah, that is not real. That is a puppet, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, like, I like that it did that, and I'm not mad that I saw its little shark face and its little shark dead eyes. And by little, I mean real big, really big, huge, very giant. But I loved all the parts where you didn't see it. Like, they did a really good job of making do. Like, I love that you never see the shark in this opening scene. You just see her being like flipped all the fuck around, you know? and it's so terrifying. The one thing that I thought was really funny though is like her first reaction when she first gets like pulled down. She's mostly like, oh, but like, didn't it have to be biting her?
It was probably
to pull her down.
It might have. All? Well, that first bump where she was like, what? Maybe it just like nudged into her or something. Cause like shark, as
she goes like,
yeah, it's a yank and then it's a yoink after that. Maybe
sharks,
got her hair. Who knows? I mean,
sharks notoriously do like to do little test nibbles.
Oh,
that's true. I actually
maybe she thought she kicked the rock.
Probably it just like didn't register. You know when you hurt yourself sometimes and it's not until you like see the wounds that you go owie ow ow. So it probably was
a preemptive hour, so I don't know. Sometimes I say ow and it hasn't even hurt. So
sure. But that's when like you know what's going on usually. You know what I mean? I think sometimes I would imagine you're really not expecting to get eaten by a shark when you're doing a little naked drunk swim with a man you're trying to seduce. I think probably it just like didn't register until after the yank. And then it was like,
yeah, totally. But yeah, I mean, it's just that opening scene is so terrifying. And I think that they introduced the horror in this movie really well. My one qualm with the movie is though, okay, I have several, but well, okay, one of them is that it's too long. It's too long. It's 2 hours.
It's 2 hours long.
Oh,
It's
the
way
movie
too
in
long.
general. I thought you meant just the
No.
opening scene, and I was
No,
like, the
no, no,
opening
I'm
scene
talking-
is flawless.
No, I'm talking about the whole movie.
It is
Movie's
long.
too long. It's a horror movie for the first hour, and then it's an adventure movie for 45 minutes, and then it's a horror movie again at the end. And I was like, we could have lost part of the buddy comedy with
No,
all
I
the like.
love the buddy comedy. They're gay for each other.
I know they're all gay for each other. I like that part because that part's still spooky. But when they're like in the ocean, like doo doo doo.
Yeah. They do have that hero triumphant music at that one point. I'm so sorry, Sydney. You really keep trying to speak. Your turn.
I just was trying to say that a lot of their whole like buddy Fisher cop stuff. I watched this movie 3 times and I was just like not paying attention at all. And then I was like, oh, there's action again. Okay. So I think we could have lost some of them at sea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few minutes of that.
That's the thing. Is this movie? Well, apparently the book that this was based on had like 1 bajillion subplots going on, including one that will make the dumb bitch of it all. You'll be a little more sympathetic to him and why he was behaving that way, other than didn't make the screen, so it doesn't count. But there was like a lot going on, generally speaking, and like Hooper, the oceanographer guy, was gonna be like banging the cop's wife, and there was like all this stuff, and then they just like cut it to streamline basically because there was so much going on. And then when they ended up having to cut 50% of the shark stuff, it ended up being these more like quiet human moments, which I think was good because you invested in the characters, and considering there's only like really 3 for such a huge chunk of the movie, you do want to care about them. That said, yeah, when you have that hero triumphant music moment, it's kind of like, why is this here at this moment? Like, what? Why are we celebrating?
Times.
Are we excited? Are we having fun? Like, it just felt a little not the vibe.
Yeah, no, it went on too long. But that said, it's still a great movie. I was so enamored with the first hour. Like, I think the way they introduced like the cop finding out what's his name.
Oh, Brody. Martin, Michael,
Brody,
something.
Brody. Brody is
Martin.
His name, and then Quint, and then Hooper.
Yeah.
So Quint's the seaman, and Hooper is the marine biologist.
I love seamen.
But when Brody goes out to talk to that dude bro, who's with Chrissy at the beginning, and they discover the body, like, oh fuck, that shit is so spooky. Like, you just see her arm and all the crabs like all around her. Oh, disgusting.
You know what's fucked up about that? Unless
I
Sydney's gonna say it, and then Sydney can say it.
The fun fact.
Yeah.
They tried to use like a prosthetic hand or something, but it didn't look right. And so they had just like a person like lay there, and they buried her in the sand to like be a dead body.
Spielberg's like, that fake hand looks terrible. You, PA, bury yourself in the sand.
What's fun is that also wasn't my fun fact. My fun fact was apparently they poured hot coffee. It's not fun, actually. I take it back. They poured hot coffee on those crabs to get them to skitter about, apparently. That feels mean to the crabs, but maybe they were okay. Probably not enough to boil them alive,
I don't like
Probably,
that.
I assume.
I heard that part too, but I did all of my research by watching YouTube videos this time around, and I misheard it, and I thought they just poured coffee on the PA, and I was like, why? They're supposed to be dead. I don't get it. Anyway, thank you for clarifying.
She
Bad
was
listening comprehension.
Got tired and thirsty there under the sand. They put a little straw and just dripped it right in. Probably, I assume. Anyway,
the beginning of this movie, I mean, we're still talking about the beginning of this movie, but the whole first hour is the beginning of this movie. And like, I get it. Brody's not from Amityville or whatever. Amityville horror. Island.
I kept doing that too. And then I was like, what's the connection? I thought they were joking at first. And then I was like, oh wait, never mind. I always forget.
He's not from the island, so they all think he's a hypochondriac. Also, they never really explain why he's so scared of water, and there's so many allusions to it throughout. And I just like I want to know, but like I guess I'll have to read the book. But like he was,
yeah.
Wow.
Were you not listening when I said that earlier?
No.
Of course not. Also,
she was sending me a tweet
for a second.
Yeah, of course.
Also,
I was sending you a Minions tweet. What else would I be doing?
Oh my god. Also, the author of the book is in the movie. He's he's the newscaster on the beach who's like, there's a shark attack. What will happen now? Something like I see something else from that. Yeah, that's him. But anyway, I think that one gruesome shark attack is enough to close the beach. Thank you very much. I don't think that he's overreacting. And I think that the mayor should be shot or should be fed or cut into pieces and fed as chum to the next shark that comes to town.
Yeah, the city council was not the vibe.
Yeah.
It was giving reopen the world from quarantine to help the economy. That's what it was giving.
There was one other movie that we did recently where it was like very specifically sacrifice everybody for the economy, but I don't recall which one it was. But that is such a common theme, unfortunately, you know.
Oh yeah, it happens all the time in real life. I just read And the Band Plays On, which is like an incredible book about the first like 6 years of the AIDS crisis, and like that's the name of the game, honey. It was like, oh, don't close the bathhouses, we have to make money, let everyone die, who cares? So it was just finished that book. This hit too close to home.
Oh man, this is what I was referencing though a second ago when I was talking about the book. Is apparently one of the subplots in the book is that the mafia is like controlling Amity and like the mayor basically. So the mafia is like forces the mayor to not close the beaches because the mafia wants to make money, and mafia famously okay with people dying, you know what I mean? So they were unmoved, unimpressed in the book, and then that subplot just didn't make the adaptation the final cut. Because can you imagine if they were just like, anyway, now to the mob? I don't think it would quite.
It would have been 3 hours long. Then it wouldn't have been a blockbuster.
It's a little bit of The Godfather meets Jaws, and they do a little Love Child. I think that could be fun, maybe.
That's Jaws.
I know.
4.
It's also very Jurassic Park, you know?
I like it better where it's non-complicated and I can just unabashedly hate someone.
And I think
I
he
can
does.
just hate him and think he's a dumb fuck. And that's how I feel about him.
You're allowed. I mean, he has that whole speech later on after the additional attacks where he's like, don't you think I feel bad? My kids were at the beach too. And it's like, okay, well, take 10 minutes to feel bad and then close the beaches, because like you have to close the beaches now. Can we all acknowledge?
Like, how did he, like, after the girl dying, sure, okay, maybe you're like, I don't believe it, it's a shark. I believe that a boat became alive and cut her up itself. Like, I don't know, whatever you want to believe. He was saying something about a barracuda. Ridiculous, but sure. But after you see that child get literally like ripped limb from limb and explode like from this shark, you're still gonna let everybody go out for 4th of July? My God, I hate him.
Not only was he letting everybody go in the water, he was like, get your little asses in the water. Like he was going around to that
was
couple,
the
and he
second,
was like,
that was after
that
was after the kid dies. Yeah. Too. He's just so terrible. And that I just want to say that scene where the first little boy dies is so perfectly anxiety producing. It's just so well done with Brody on the beach, and he's watching every single little thing that goes on, trying to like make sure that no one gets hurt. And then like he can't, it still happens. Oh, and like all the sounds and everything. Oh,
the one thing that I hate is like right before you see a guy like throwing a stick into the water with his dog, and I've never noticed it before, but he's like calling for the dog and the dog isn't like there. So it's like
dog got
right.
The dog died first. Another dog killed.
R.I.P. to that dog.
Unnecessarily. Oh God, it's just awful. Also, okay, I got really confused because I know I'm skipping around. Okay, wait. Okay, I
Oh,
won't say what.
Us
What?
skipping around? No.
shocking. I was looking at my notes because I was like, what do you mean that part that I mentioned came way later? And I couldn't remember what was in the middle then. It's because they find that other shark and then they're like, yay!
We did it!
Even though that shark is clearly a grandma and has one tooth to its name, like, please, that shark did not eat two people.
And that was like
That
a
shark
real
could not
shark
eat
too.
anything. That shark was a real shark
Whoa.
that was floated from Florida allegedly and decomposing allegedly and was hung upside down and had all of its organs detach inside and like stop up right behind its throat. And it smelled rank on set allegedly.
Allegedly.
That's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, sure is. Sure is, babe.
Oh, you hate to hear it. You really hate to hear it. And okay, I also just got so mad because Brody gets fucking slapped in the face by that mom, as someone needs to be slapped in the face, of course. But it's just
the
like
mayor.
turn around, take that hand, and just like shove it down the mayor's throat or something, like gag stab him. I don't know if that's a thing, but we're calling it that now. What I'm picturing is you put your hand into a point, then you shove it down someone's throat. So you're like stabbing them with your hand so they gag and you're punching them at the same time. That's what he deserves. It's a new type of self-defense. We're gonna try it out. We're not. I'm not gonna assault anyone, I promise. But if I was going to, it would be the mayor in this movie.
Mm-hmm. If somebody let your child get eaten by a shark, you could gag stab them. What did you
Gag
just call
stab?
it?
Yes, yes,
Gag
yes.
stab. Excuse me. I wanted to use
Trademark.
the right terminology.
Thank you. Thank
it's
you. I
so
really
important to
appreciate
be
it. I'm
accurate.
just getting this move off the ground, and so name
Uh-huh.
recognition is really important.
The support to
Trademark
everything.
gag stab.
Trademark. Thank you so much.
Wow.
It's on the internet, so like everybody knows now, right? Like it's time.
Another thing about this movie that really is upsetting is that the same thing that happens in the movie is what happened in real life after this movie. Like, you know, when the child has been killed and they call like a town hall meeting and everyone's like, oh, fuck, I'm going to go kill the shark. Right. And everybody and their mother's like, I'm going to go kill sharks. That's what I do now. Well, apparently, shark killings went up exponentially after this movie came out. And as Ben, Sydney's ex-boyfriend, said on the phone to us earlier, fear and hatred of sharks skyrocketed after this film too. People weren't really super scared of sharks before, but damn, are they now? Are they still? So this still is really damaging to the shark brand. And I'm surprised there wasn't some sort of lawsuit by sharks against Steven Spielberg.
And they're all such good lawyers.
Sharks would be a good lawyer. And also, it goes back to Finding Nemo, and I feel like the shark who was named after this movie would have been a good lawyer.
He made some compelling points.
That's
he
all
was
I'm
good
saying.
at forging bonds. He was good at keeping people in line.
That's what I'm saying. I think Bruce from Finding Nemo would be a better lawyer than Bruce in Jaws. An argument.
Well, this do a poll. I think would be a bad lawyer, probably.
We'll do a poll. Which Bruce? He doesn't talk, will be a better lawyer.
He also blows up. So there's that.
That's a really good point too. That makes him at a disadvantage for sure.
It's hard to defend yourself in court when you've been blowed up, you know?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah.
We should ask our podcast lawyer if that's
if it's hard to be a lawyer when you've been blowed up.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask her. Lord help us. This movie gets so much better once Hooper comes on the scene though, because
and he's a cutie.
He's
a cutie
that I was thinking about.
I love his outfit and I'm very attractive to his aesthetic. Attractive, not attractive.
Both. You are also very attractive.
I'm sure he finds you very attractive. Who wouldn't?
But here's the thing. When I was watching the latter half of this movie, that is just Brody, Quentin, and Hooper having a little fun time on the sea. I was like, I was like, these are 3 distinct types of men that I am very interested in all of them. And I was like, what's happening here? I was like, Hooper, the weird hipster, Quint, the older, dirty guy who has a boat.
Not wrong.
The grizzled, experienced, knows what he's doing,
A
self-sufficient.
sailor,
Monica
specifically a
also
sailor.
likes seamen.
I am very into seamen.
Stop.
Captains of
Ugh.
ships. I am very interested in that. And then Brody's like normcore, but you're like, he's structurally
He's really
beautiful.
hot.
But he's
yeah,
also
really
a
hot.
cat,
really
so,
hot. I know.
Boo, but he's bad at his job, maybe. So, although I do feel if cops were chasing sharks, well,
Shark cop.
actually, that could be bad PR because sharks are usually just minding their business.
They
so
are
don't
just minding their business.
I don't want
Sharks
sharks
don't
to be.
do this shit.
Yeah, I actually I reached out to our podcast shark biologist who made contact
I'm
with
so
us after
glad.
we did Sharky Tuesday last year. Her name is Caroline.
Caroline,
and I
we
did
love
ask her about
you.
some
Shouts out
shark
to Caroline.
behaviors. Yeah. I had to immediately emergency message her and say, important last minute shark question. Do sharks ever really ram things like the shark does in Jaws? And Caroline said they not as intense as Jaws. They can only explore their environment with their noses and their mouths. So they do definitely do nudges and bumps into things because like that's just where they're feeling things. And that's also the furthest forward point of their body if you've seen sharks before. And you know, their fins, it doesn't move forward all the way to the front. They're tiny. And so that's
true,
like
they
what
don't have arms.
they don't have arms. That's not their fault.
What are they gonna
so
do? They're gonna hit their face on it.
They explore things with their nose and then their mouth after that. A lot of the time, but they don't have like they're not vindictive like this shark is. They're not so single-minded.
Mad.
Yeah, she said if they bump into a boat more than once, then there's something wrong with him. So you know, there is in fact something wrong with this devil shark in this movie.
With him, he was possessed by Satan.
He was
It's a
probably
Black Phillip of the sea.
Black Phillip, Black Bruce.
He had mad shark disease instead of mad cow disease.
Oh my god.
Maybe he ate a cow. There's that whole discussion where they're like, sharks eat everything. This shark ate just a license plate because it has one tooth. It can't eat other things. That license plate just floated in.
It just had its
Poor-
mouth open.
poor
It only has
granny
what? Where
shark.
do you see this? That it only has one tooth? Is that something that we saw
I
in the
looked in
film?
its mouth and I only saw one tooth in there.
Maybe they had, like receded in with his decomposition. I know.
They'd
I'm making
all-
sense.
I'll
I have
see.
no idea
I'll
what I-
re-examine
idea
for
what I'm saying.
social. And if it's worth sharing, I'll share. And if it's not worth sharing, you'll have to look it up for yourself.
Okay, so the shark you see is like it hangs up like on the docks, and there used to be a ride at Universal Hollywood. Not Universal. It was Universal Hollywood Studios in Orlando, Florida.
I know.
Confusing name.
I know. Because there was Islands of Adventure and then Hollywood Studios, but they were like both Universal. And there was a Jaws ride up until 2012. They got rid of it to like expand Harry Potter, which is like very upsetting.
Fuck that. It's like when they got rid of E.T. at my Universal Studios in Hollywood, California.
I know. Horrifying.
And like, I know their Harry Potter is better than our Harry Potter because there's more, but our Harry Potter is essentially one big gift store. So like, I really don't believe that theirs could be that good. Probably not worth getting rid of the Jaws ride.
But so we used to go, that's where we went vacations every year, like all this stuff. And so I was tall enough to ride the Jaws ride finally. And so I'm maybe 8, 9, 10, and I hadn't seen the movie yet. And my parents were like, okay, we're going to do the Jaws ride because I, liked all this stuff. But they had a rule.
You're a spooky gal. Yeah. They're like, she's gonna love it.
She's seen Halloween.
They had a rule but here's the thing. I've always been like not a fan of the ocean. Like, you know how I feel about woods?
You're a lake
like,
girly.
That's how I feel about oceans. Like, there's too many things in there that could eat me, and I don't like it.
When it comes to bodies of water, you prefer lakes. We all know this.
Lakes,
Fair.
pools, you know, still could have critters in there, but less likely.
A gator is fine.
Yeah, different. Wait until we
I'm
do
gonna go in the
Placid.
swamp.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I've never seen Lake Placid.
Oh, it's incredible.
Is
Betty
that the one
White's
that's
in
the
it.
documentary, fake documentary, or is that
No,
a
it has Betty
different-
White in it.
Oh,
It's about gators.
Yeah. And so
cool.
they won't let you sit on a lap. So you have
Okay.
to like sit in your own seat. And the tour guide who was like running the ride, like put me in this seat. And it was the seat that the animatronic shark popped up at like every single time. And
Sabotaged
when I
you.
tell you, I had a meltdown. I mean, like
a setup.
My
it was a
God.
setup. Like everybody was like dying laughing at me, like not with me, like at me. I was
At you, pointing, laughing,
Yes.
mocking.
and like the little tour guide was like egging everything on. Like
Oh
my-
my
here's the
Should've
God.
my
Gag
parents are
stabbed
taking
him.
pictures somewhere.
Should've
There's
gag
photos,
stabbed
and
him.
you can see my tonsils. I'm screaming so bad. I'm like
Your
blood red
uvula,
face.
the back of your
I'm like,
throat.
ah! I mean, like I am
Wow.
melting down.
That is so fucking cruel. How
Illegal.
dare.
Illegal.
Yeah, that is grounds for a gag step.
Gag stab. For sure, gag stab.
Stab.
Next time you're in that exact situation, you know what to do.
I know what to do. I am prepared with the
Next time you
tools
travel
for
back in
self-defense.
time pre 2012, yeah.
I
If it makes
eventually
you-
wrote it as an adult and had a great time. So
Oh.
I'm glad you put that
Yeah.
that specter to rest.
Yeah. I mean the studio tour at the Hollywood one in Hollywood, to clarify, also has a shark attraction and also was terrifying to me as a child. And then
That
it
shit
came around
fucked
to it. Yeah.
me up very
But it was the
deeply when
subway
I was a
part
kid.
that really scared me. Do you know what the subway with the flames and they're like
Oh, of course.
earthquake and then
yeah. And then the
I
water
think
all
I've
comes
been-
down.
there at some point.
I think I've been on the studio tour at Universal more than any other ride in any other park in my entire life.
'Cause it
Like I used to go
slaps.
there all the time because it used to be hella cheap.
Used to be like $30. Yeah.
No, it used to be stupid cheap, and you could get a year pass if you brought a Coke can with
A Coke
you.
can and a penny.
Yeah,
A Coke
So-
can and a dream.
those were the days. Okay, before we get into the hour-long segment of the movie where it's just three guys and they're on a boat and they're having a good time and they're
Having a
actually
good
pretty close
time.
together, but it's not gay. No, it's gay.
No,
it's
it's
super
fully
gay.
gay.
It's
The
fully
legs
gay,
get
but-
intertwined.
I know. But before we get there, I just want to say that two things. I was very scared by the dock scene. It was very scary.
Yeah.
That was very spooky. See, another great use of not having the shark, and they use a dock instead of a shark. Very terrifying. Great job.
That's one of my favorite things that they do is when they have something attached to the shark that's being dragged around by the shark. So you have a sense of where it is, but not really like what its vibe is. You know what I mean? You don't know
Like,
what
is it in
mood
a
it's
good mood?
in. Yeah. Like,
Is it in
he
a
friendly?
silly, goofy
Is he
mood,
flirting?
or
Does he like me? Does he think I'm cute?
the
Here's the-
other scary? Oh, you go.
I think the shark is just flirting with everybody this whole movie and is wildly misunderstood.
It's
It's
just a
not
horny
his
shark. It saw that
fault.
naked lady. It saw naked Chrissy in the ocean, and it was like, "Oh my God, you're beautiful. Let me talk to her." But
All
the only way I can interact with the world is through with my
Chrissy,
nose
wake
and mouth.
Mhm.
I don't
All Chrissies that
like
die too soon
this.
in horror projects are wonderful and
Chrissy,
lovely.
wake up!
No, my God.
That's what I'm saying, baby. That's what I'm saying, baby. I have fully fallen into a Stranger Things fixation, unfortunately.
Good.
Or fortunately, maybe. It's
That's
fine.
fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad.
I like hearing
Anyway,
about it.
that's
But,
why I just had to insert my little agenda real quick. I like Chrissy, and I think she's great. In both.
The other thing that was really scary that I don't think that was handled well in this
Mhm.
movie, and I
Mhm.
think I guess I get why now after one of my little videos I watched with facts about Jaws. The part that scares me the most of this whole movie is when Hooper goes down in the water to look at that boat that is in the middle of the ocean when they're there in the middle of the night. And he looks at the hole and finds a tooth. This is a weird thing to hear out of context. And then the dead head comes out. Yeah, it's a big ass tooth. But then the dead head comes out, and it's fucking terrifying because that fisherman has been killed.
Ben
But then I
Gardner.
was super confused because for the rest of the movie, they like didn't talk about that guy died. Like when they were talking about like how many people died, they didn't get back and they were like, shit, that guy's dead. Let me tell everyone that guy is dead. And there's also another person who's dead. No, they were like, the child is dead. Chrissy is dead. They're like focusing on those deaths, but they don't talk about boat guy being dead. I was like, boat guy's dead. He scared the shit out of you.
Or the guy in the pond, really. Kind of gloss over the guy in the pond.
They gloss over pond guy
Brody's
too.
son.
And I don't know why they do that, but the dead head guy, that was a late addition to the movie because Steven Spielberg was like, it's scary, but it could use one more. And so they like filmed that part like in a pool and put milk in the water and then something, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, IMDb trivia had so much to say and so many different little trivias on that scene. One said that in the test viewing screenings, he loved the scare when the shark comes out when Brody's chumming the waters. He loved the reaction to that so much that he was like, let's do another for fun. And he added that scene in. And then another said that scene existed, but not as shocking, scary. And so they like revamped it and redid it so you could have a shock moment. And then apparently that was the shock moment. Everybody was scared and really excited. And that's the one I've always like famously heard about. But then people were much more subdued response to the scare later on with the chum in the water because they're on guard. So Steven Spielberg was like, I guess you only get one scare, which is true. I mean, when I watched The Conjuring, you get that scary disembodied clapping hands. That was the one that got me. And then after that, I was like, okay, nothing's gonna top that. So
yeah, I've had my scare. I'm done now.
I reached my scare quota.
I did it. There's one point in this movie that had my head spinning with thoughts and questions and confusion, a little bit of fear. And that is the moment when our boys all come together finally, Brody, Quint, and Hooper, and decide to go kill that motherfucker, and they have their little toast of whatever Quint's absolutely nasty ass juice is that he made, hooch made. And Quint says, here's to swimming with bow-legged women. And everyone cheered. And I was like, what could this possibly mean in any regard? And then Adam sent me a Reddit thread and I learned a lot of things.
I feel like I'm not going to like whatever they had to say.
Well, it's part of a very long, a very old toast. And apparently this is the whole toast. Okay. Here's to swimming with bow-legged women and swimming between their knees. If you know any ladies that want to have babies, you can send them all up to me.
My normal go-to toast is here's to Jesus and birth control, but I think that this, because it covers all of my bases, Yeah.
Like Jesus will get everything that birth control doesn't.
Well, it appeases like birth control for all my friends in California and Jesus for all of my family members here. Like it appeases everybody that I'm taking shots with,
I was just absolutely enamored with this entire thing. But like, I just felt so seen also by the Reddit poster. The guy was like, noob here. I was wondering if there's any reference or obvious thing I'm overthinking from Jaws. It's like this whole essay he wrote where he's like, I just can't possibly think how this would work. Why would swimming / sex women with bowed legs be so great? What am I missing here? And I was like, that is exactly the feeling that I had. But I guess it's supposed to be like their legs are apart. Yes, there you go. That's how it works. But I just thought it was very funny.
I think it is a very sweet offer that if those ladies want to have babies, they know where to find him. What a
It's
generous
great.
man.
Out at sea. Because he's seaman.
Another thing that I really like about the actor who played Quint, Robert Shaw, is that God love him, he wanted to be drunk all the time. And they would have to like have a PA to try to like keep him from like, going off to the bars while they were waiting between scenes. But instead he would just take the PA with him and get the PA plastered.
Oh my God.
And so apparently, and we'll talk about this soon, there's a iconic speech from his character where he talks about a harrowing shark related experience, which is probably one of the most fucked up stories I've ever heard. I know that it's fake, but holy fuck. Or maybe it's not fake. I don't know. Either way, he wrote that speech himself, Robert Shaw did. And when they first recorded it, he was like fucking yammied while he was doing this speech, and he's drinking out of his little cup and there's actual whiskey in there, so he's actually drunk watching
He's a method actor.
Oh yeah, he's so
Incredible.
method. And so apparently like he was super disappointed with his performance. The next day he's like, Spielberg, let me do it again. And so they did it again and he felt better about it. But the final thing that you see in the movie is splices of both together. So if you apparently look really close, you can tell when his eyes are glassier, that's from the drunk take. And when his eyes look a little less watery, that's the sober take. And I just really like that. There's a little hint of realism in there. It's very Captain of a Ship-esque for me. I like it.
On that note, apparently it's like sort of real in that there was a real shipwreck and there were real sharks involved.
Yeah, because I've heard about that before. I couldn't tell if it was a real memory or a Monica memory. You know what I mean?
Per IMDb trivia, it seems like the sharks were primarily going after the soldiers who had already died, and most of the soldiers died from like dehydration and drinking salt water and attacking each other, frankly, when the salt water made them like hallucinate and not really be present in reality. And so there were not necessarily like a lot of shark related deaths, they don't think, but someone involved, I think maybe the author, but I forget who. Peter Benchley, the author, his housekeeper apparently had a son who was on the USS Indianapolis. And then the day after she saw Jaws, she called out of work and he was like, what's going on? And she was like, well, my son was on that ship and I never knew how he died until I saw your movie. So that was pretty traumatizing.
Holy
Can you imagine?
That's so fucked up. Oh my God.
I hate
It's actually super fucked up. Yeah.
Jesus.
It's actually super fucked up.
I hate that.
I hate that.
Poor
Okay,
gal.
Let's talk about gay
we move
things
on?
to forget. Yeah. Just before this horrifying story that Quint tells, we get some of the gayest shit I've ever seen. You love it when dudes are comparing scars, It's innately a great thing, but Hooper and Quint have got the vibes. They really, really, really do.
They are 100% pulling their shirts open, comparing bodies, legs on top of each other, talking about heartbreak. That is flirtation, which is so interesting because apparently those actors really were not getting along, in part because of the drinking, and also in part just because of antagonism, generally speaking. But it makes for really incredible sexual tension within the film, if you ask me. Yeah.
Oh, couldn't agree
Will
more.
they,
And also
won't they? He smacks his leg. He does a little spank on it.
And like they're tying knots and shit. Like that's sexy.
Ooh. And Brody also like is jealous. You can totally tell because they're like comparing all their scars. And I was
He's like
is
Cooper was my boyfriend.
Oh, he like pulls up his shirt and like looks at his tummy at 1 second, like he's gonna tell them about something. But then he's like, no,
One thing
I'm
that
not gonna
this
tell them about my
movie,
tummy scar. I'm not ready yet.
one thing that I would have liked more in this movie is more chest hair, though. Like
Maybe some guy on guy kissing.
with
Oh yeah, I would have
like,
liked that. Would have
rub-
been great.
but like rubbing chest, like 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 soothing.
He did comment on it. He said, "You're wearing a sweater," very flirtatiously about the chest hair.
I know, but I want
Yeah.
more chest hair. I
I want
love chest
stroking.
swirl.
I want fingers
Swirl or
intertwined.
fingers.
Right? Like I
In
want
the
like
curl, the chest hair, that kind of vibe.
right, like I want to like lightly caress
Back to
chest hair
Stranger Things.
and then kiss.
We learned this season how ladies be loving a furry little chest.
Ladies do be
So-
loving chest hair. Back
Max
hair?
Mayfield was out here saying absolutely
chest hair.
goggles on.
Auga.
Awooga, awooga.
Auga. Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's why that part of the movie is so long. So you could really see them all fall in love with each other while they're out on the orca for what seems like 3 weeks.
One of my favorite.
How long are they supposed to be out there? There is a moment where they're like, "How many days have we been out here?" And I was like, "I thought one, but what's the deal here?"
I honestly like was staring at my dog because he was being really cute and sleeping on my chest for the vast majority of the
said, "I've got
adventure
better
movie
things
boat
to look
scenes.
at."
One of my favorite IMDb trivia things was like
Uh-huh.
the boat was named the Orca, which is named after the killer
Yeah.
whale, which is the only known predator of the great white shark. And I was like, look at those details. Look at those.
I just wanna
incredible
say-
Love
details.
it.
I made that connection myself before I saw it in IMDb trivia.
I did
And I
not.
Now she knows
Googled.
about marine biology.
He
Okay.
said that orcas are famously mean little bitches, which is
They
true.
are.
They're
That's
really
why I
mean.
can't believe because killer whales are orcas, right?
Yeah, and I remember
Yeah.
when I was little being like, killer whale is such a mean name for Shamu and his buddies.
No,
I
they
think
do be
it's
mean.
appropriate,
They're
unfortunately.
mean.
Yeah.
They're
It is
mean, man.
just
Why did they
descriptive.
choose killer whales to be the one that they make do little swirls in a tiny pond?
I
How
know.
did that? How did we do that? I don't
The hubris of
understand.
mankind.
Probably because they're the smaller of the whales.
They're not a whale. they're
Man
an
needing to show
orca.
his dominance.
That's
I'm
probably it.
the
It's like why they
ruler of
tame
this
lions and
land.
shit.
It's like,
God
look,
damn it.
there's so many oceanic
Humans
marine
are
animals
failed
you don't even
species.
know about, you stupid little bitch, for you to think that you could possibly rule them. How dare you? Be
Think
humble.
again. Oh man. I guess should we talk about like the exciting conclusion of the film now?
No. I want to talk about, sorry to rewind. I want to talk about the pond scene because I thought it was so weird that Michael, the son, was just randomly in shock after that, other than obvious Gary. And I did think it was interesting that there were two different versions that I saw in IMDb trivia. One was that the guy who did get eaten in the pond had like pushed Michael out of the way to safety and put himself in the shark's path, which would explain why Michael had such a big, strong, adverse reaction. And another was that was his like sailing instructor who like tried to drag him down into the depths with him at first. So those are two opposites. And I don't know which one is true or was intended, but either way, the footage was too scary and it got cut.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah.
But I
'cause
think it
was
would have
like,
been fun.
I thought he just looked into the shark's eye and the shark looked back and it just like, you know,
He
with
saw-
body and soul.
Exactly. That was
The
my
eyes
vibe.
went, you know how there's that
Oing,
whole
oing,
speech where it's
oing.
like the eyes are black and then they bite and they go white. He saw the eyes go white and then he went white with fright and then he had to go to the hospital.
That's it. It rhymes and
sounds
so
right
it
to
has to be
me.
true.
Yeah, white with fright.
Sorry.
So it's really hard to debunk that, frankly. Anyway, now we can go to the end.
The end was like it was the end a long time. You know?
Yeah,
It was
sure
like
the
that
end a long
big
time.
fight, like a long time. And I was like, wow, this shark is resilient, man. He's big, he's mean. No barrel can hold him down, you know, or I guess bring him up is more the vibe. But I would never go in the shark cage. I'm sorry. I would just never.
No.
I say that now. I maybe would go in a shark cage, but I would never go in that.
Yeah, you said
shark
on
cage.
47 meters down that you would 100% go in a shark cage.
I would go in a shark cage. I would not go in that shark cage. That shark is way too big.
I would
and he
absolutely
is breaking the boat.
never go in a shark cage.
I would go on a glass bottom boat to look at sharks. I would do that.
Maybe.
Stay dry the whole time.
I'd go in a shark cage, but I wouldn't go in that shark cage. That shark is psychotic. It is clear.
I would go in
They've
that
just
shark
had a
cage
3-hour-long
under different
fight with it.
circumstances. Maybe.
Yeah. And not this circumstance, but it is super funny that he immediately fucks up and drops the spear.
So fast.
Right?
So immediately.
Immediately.
One
Just
big
like-
bonk and he is done for.
It's over. And apparently he was supposed to die.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad that he didn't die, so we could have our cute brochacho swim at the end.
Yeah.
But and also because I think he's so cute.
Yeah, he was supposed to
Richard
die.
Dreyfuss,
Unless you
you're
want to
so
say
cute.
this. Do you want to?
No, you go.
Okay. He was supposed to die in the cage, and they like filmed a bunch of those underwater scenes, and they had a little person in a miniature cage underwater because they obviously couldn't get a real 25-foot shark, so they just had a regular shark and then sized down to scale. And they were trying to get some of those shots, and you see some of them, I think, in the finished version. And then they had other shots with the dummy, and they were trying to like entice the shark to attack the dummy, and they just simply could not get the sharks to ever do it. But what they could get is the sharks all tangled up in like the lines on the shark cage. So when you see the shots where the shark is really like thrashing around, that was a real shark that just got tangled up in the empty cage.
Poor
And-
shark.
Yeah, essentially they could not get the shot of Hooper dying, and so they said, whatever, I guess he can live, which is why he's just like hiding off screen at the bottom of the ocean
God
for so long.
said he should live.
Look, if you can't get the shot, maybe it's for a reason. Have you considered that?
Maybe it's
they
a bad
I
shot.
guess now I have.
Divine
Yeah.
intervention.
Mhm. It's a shame his BF died. And he does look sad when he pops back up at the end and then finds out. But at least one of them survived to carry the memory of the other in their heart forever, you know?
Quint's death is so fucked up too because like it felt avoidable. He just like I didn't feel like the angle was so severe that he should be falling directly into the mouth so easily. But he was super drunk.
I didn't realize this, and I don't know if it's true, but IMDb trivia said the oxygen tank like falls on his hand or something, and that's why he like loses his grip and goes slippy slidey, which is
Okay,
interesting.
that makes more sense.
Because then it feels like the oxygen tank avenges him. You know what I mean? Is like, oopsie, my bad. So sorry, baby. I will right this wrong.
Love that.
But yeah,
You
I
love a course
definitely did
correct.
not get that. I was just like, well, there he goes. And what a fucking terrible way to die after you
what
have
he's been
yeah.
through.
And I had that thought, and I wrote that in my notes. And then IMDb trivia was like, they did that for peak tragedy. Because apparently he was going to die a different way initially. And then they were like, no, let's make it as awful as we possibly can.
Let's make it
That
where
is
they eat the bottom half of him, just like the guy that he was talking about in his story, where he went to
Woof.
check on his friend and it was only the top half. Oh,
Poetic.
horrible, sad, bad,
Literally horrible,
horrifying. But I mean, Brody is a baddie at the end of the day. He's fighting his fears of the water in general. He's on a boat and he successfully blows up a 25-foot shark. Like, who can say that? That's fucking sick. Like, the exploding him is
To
such
chunks.
a Spielberg move. Like, it's so grandiose and it's so awesome. Like, it's awesome.
It
Two
is a
absolute
great
bits.
death.
That's like
It was earned, you know what I mean? Which
he's
is
like,
the whole
we're
thing.
going for a maximalist ending, okay?
But apparently, the author was really mad about that originally because I think the shark was supposed to die some other way, but I don't recall how at this
the
time.
shark was supposed to die because it had been fucked up a bit, like quite a bit from all the things that they'd done to it. And then it's like about to kill Brody, but then it kind of just like dies. It's
That's
just
dumb.
like,
that might be realistic, but that's dumb. I'm glad they exploded it.
It's like very anticlimactic.
It does like a dramatic last swoon where its lines are trailing off, and then it goes, "Alas, I perish." Or
it opens its mouth really big to do a big chomp, but instead a sigh comes out, and it's like,
you see one air bubble float away to the surface. That'd be kind of fun, actually. Maybe
Not as good as it being
exploded.
Blowed up.
Apparently, the author was like, "Why are you exploding the shark? That is so stupid." And Spielberg was like, "They just watched a 2-hour shark movie. They're gonna eat up whatever we give them, and an explosion rules." And he was right. An explosion absolutely rules. And you've been terrified of this shark for so long now, and you just saw it eat the guy that most shouldn't have been eaten. You know what I mean? I think an explosion is fair game.
You gotta blow.
But I did have the same thought that somebody else had, either working on the movie or on IMDb trivia. Again, I'm so sorry. I don't have sources for any of this because there was so much on there and it was very overwhelming. And I was just glad I made it to the bottom of the page. But there was so much like bloody shark bits in the water at the end that I was like, isn't that going to attract more sharks? And there was an idea pitched to have the exploded shark and then like other fins popping up in the water swimming nearby. Which I actually think would have been too sad. Too sad.
That would have been way too much.
And also so many sharks then. You can only really have one big predator. Actually, I don't know how shark family systems work. Maybe they actually
that one
each other a
was
lot.
a rogue shark, so it doesn't make sense for it to have family
That
nearby.
Caroline said there was something wrong with that shark. So, you know.
He's gone through something traumatic, okay?
He wandered away from his family. That's why he's so distraught. Probably.
It's like a Finding Nemo situation. We interrupted another iteration of Finding Nemo. Finding Bruce, the third installment.
Where was his dad? Why wasn't his dad more committed?
Peace. Too wallaby wasted D. I didn't say it right, but I was close.
You pretty much nailed it.
Thank you so much. I just love that they kind of like the boys just paddle home, you know. They're just float on their little floaties and they like, floaty all the way home. And that's the end.
Giggles.
And that's a little gay too.
They're like,
it is. I wrote down that dialogue because I thought it was so silly. They're just like, what day is this? It's Wednesday. Oh, Tuesday, I think. I think the tides with us keep kicking. I used to hate the water. Can't imagine why. Like, they're so glib. They're so silly. We survived. Okay, baby. Like, that guy died and the whole ship went down. But
I know.
I guess you gotta laugh.
You do gotta laugh. Here's the thing. One of the videos of facts was like, what was up with that inappropriate laughter at the end? That was so weird. And I was like, they are hysterical. They just had to blow up a shark to survive. Like they had to explode it.
He had to be like, smile, you son of a bitch, as he exploded it.
They were saying that like, he's basically like, yeah, Quint's dead. And then they're like, it's not exactly like that. It's kind of close to that.
They have a solemn moment first, a moment of respectful silence.
But then they're like, but it ain't us.
Yeah. Look, they deserve to have a giggle, probably.
Oh my God. And that's Jaws.
2 giggles.
3 giggles, maybe.
They gotta pour out 1 giggle for their fallen homie.
Yes,
R.I.P.
Exactly. A little giggle for the homie.
You gotta do it. That's the best tribute, is a little giggle. I hope you do a little giggle for me one day. If I go first.
I will. The second that you go, I'll do a little giggle. That's the timing you want, right?
Right.
Yikes. Play Arms of the Angels by Sarah McLachlan first, and then you can giggle.
LOL.
Yeah. Horrifying. It's horrifying to hear. Anyway, how could this movie be gayer?
They could kiss on the mouth.
They could
Could
rub
have a
chest
kiss,
hair.
All three could kiss at once. All three together.
I want more chest hair.
The argument is that chest hair
Next
is innately
segment.
gay,
Yeah.
apparently.
No, here's the thing. I don't know about you, but if there is chest hair, I must rub it. And I just assume that that's how everybody else is. So if there's more chest hair on a small boat on the ocean, they're going to be rubbing each other. And that's what I want to see.
I would
More
like to see
rubbing
that
in
too.
general would be welcome.
I don't have a lot of experience with chest hair.
Well,
'cause
Adam
I
is
live
a
in a house
seal, so
filled with men, but none of them have a single hair except for atop their heads. So
Adam and James are both baby seals.
Cute.
I sea lions are my favorite animals, so I guess that makes a lot of sense for
that
me.
stands.
But if I see a furry chest someday, I'll be like, "Hey, do I have your consent to feel
Hey,
it?" Because I've heard great things.
That's so
Yeah,
respectful of you to ask for consent. I really think that's wonderful.
I want to have a gay cool scar competition.
I bumped
my
my
life.
chin when I was younger. Your turn.
You have it's Brunhilde.
Brunhilde. My collarbone scar, which is literally like 5 inches long.
I have
also
a
have this.
bullet hole in my foot.
No, you don't.
Yeah. It's like my cousin shot me in the foot with a BB gun when I was like 10 because we were
No, but you said that was so hard. I've got a bullet hole. in
Got
my
a
foot.
bullet hole. She wanted to win the gay scar competition. Can you blame her?
I mean, yeah, fuck, that's crazy.
Yeah, she wins. Yeah, she
You
wins.
win. You win. Wow, thank you for letting me live out my lifelong dream of having a gay scar competition.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you guys.
Anything for you, anytime.
Yeah, so I mean, we don't have to make it gay. They're already gay, and it's so sad to see that one member of the throuple is no longer with us. But
Yeah.
Hooper and Brody will live on in his honor for the rest of
He
their
does
days.
have a hot wife though, and his wife and they do have a lot of sexual chemistry, and they do
They
fuck. So
are
he's
very
bisexual
horny.
icon.
Yeah.
Bisexual icon for
They're awesome.
Martin
I really
Brody.
like her.
Yeah, she's
Oh, yeah.
she's a cutie.
You wanna get
Apparently
drunk
that
and
was
screw around.
Yeah, that's a fun role to cast though, apparently, because one producer really wanted his wife to do that role. And then the head of Universal Studios said, "Suck it, my wife is doing that role." So that's how that happened.
That's so funny. She slayed it. She was amazing.
She did great, yeah.
The next question is one that I'm always thinking about. Where would Matthew Lillard be in this film? Was he alive in 75?
Yes, he was
Yeah.
5. He could have played.
He was born in 70. Why do I thought he was born in 75? I got to memorize it. Continue. I'm sorry.
Could have played the second child of Brody,
Alex?
the little
Yes.
the baby.
Is that his name?
Itty bitty. Yeah, he definitely
Alex
should have played the
Kintner.
itty bitty.
A fun fact about Alex Kintner, Maddie Lily aside, is that the lady who played Mrs. Kintner one time went to a seafood restaurant and saw that there was an Alex Kintner sandwich on the menu. And so she was like, "Oh, that's so funny. I played Mrs. Kintner, his mommy." And then the owner came running over to her, and it was the actor who had played Alex Kintner, the son in the movie. Also, apparently people asked her to slap them a lot after this role. And also, apparently, she really slapped What's-His-Face like 17 times because she couldn't figure out how to fake a slap. So they said, "Just go for it."
I love that.
And she did. Good for her.
Wow, it's beautiful.
An
It's a beautiful
icon.
thing. Yeah. So yeah,
But Maddie Lily would have
Maddie
done a
Lily-
great job.
Maddie Lily would have been a fantastic small baby child who sat on a dock and looked cute. So,
Or he
it's
could
a
have been one
natural
of
role for him.
Yeah, he could have been one of Martin Brody's sons. You know, there's 2. There could have been 3. We could just add in an extra one. You know what I mean?
Here's another thought. When they remake this, he
Mhm.
will play Quint.
The grizzled old seaman.
Oh
the
yeah.
grizzled seaman. Yeah, he would be wonderful in that role. I could see
Does
him
he
being
have-
grizzled.
A wealthy amount of chest hair.
Matthew
Chest
Lillard,
hair.
do you have chest hair? Let us know.
Not in these pictures that I'm seeing on the internet, but who knows what was for a role and what was not, you know?
He can wear a chest merkin.
Yes.
Fine.
I'd
It's
be down for that.
fine.
Oh my God.
makeup has
Also,
come far,
he doesn't have to have
okay?
chest hair. He just has to stroke the other man's chest hair.
No, he also has to
Exactly.
have chest hair so they can stroke him back. Like that's how it works. Everybody
A
needs chest
mutual
hair.
stroke, 2 strokes.
Yeah, like
I'm so
like you just sit
horrified.
there and be like, "Ooh, yeah."
Oh, nice.
Monica, join in. We're all
Is this ASMR?
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. I can only imagine what this feels like. Truly no idea.
What's so fun is that anybody listening doesn't know what we're doing right now. So
pretending this
come to
it's
stroke
really great that this
chest
is a
hair.
podcast.
just have to come to social media.
If
And
that's
watch
a
Follow us on
clip.
social media, and we'll make sure to post this weird video of us stroking a ghost chest. Anyway,
They're gonna love it.
we talked about this already, the three of us, before we recorded. But the dumb bitch is the mayor.
Oh, the dumb
It
bitch
really
is the mayor.
It couldn't be anybody else.
It
There's
couldn't be
nobody
anyone
else.
And when he is like all freaked out, like, oh my god, and
My
he's like
sons were good
catatonic in the
too.
hospital, and Brody's like about to punch his lights out, I was like, fucking kill him. This is the time. This is the time that you do the gag stab.
Gag
The gag
You
stab.
got it. That's the time for the gag stab. He's in a hospital, so he'll be able to recover, but he'll never forget, and he'll never underestimate a shark again. There you go. He's a fucking
probably
dumb bitch.
will.
I hate him.
He
Yeah.
probably will underestimate a shark again.
And then he'll get
I mean,
eaten
there
by
is
it, and then
Jaws
we don't have to deal with
too,
his dumb ass.
so-
There's Jaws 2 through 4, apparently, which I
Oh.
literally always forget about. Apparently, Jaws 4 is like one of the widely regarded as one of the worst movies ever, which is fun because Jaws is widely regarded as one of the best movies ever.
Interesting.
Yeah, I
Once
don't
more,
feel like I'm
duality
gonna
of
be
man.
watching any of those.
I'm a little curious though now, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of like, what's the sequel? The Mayor is Stupid Again? Because that shark got exploded. Unless
Are
its
they
dad
in
comes
it?
because the dad was looking for him, Finding Nemo style. And the dad's 27 feet.
Are the same people in it?
I don't know. That's
oh my
not
god,
my
it
business
came
to
out
know.
4 years later. They could be in it. Oh my god.
Probably not,
I
though.
don't know. I'm gonna.
Here's
He
a fun fact.
is!
Who is?
The mayor's in it, and so is
Yeah.
Brody.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god. But Hooper's not in it, so what's the point?
What's the point?
There's no point.
A fun fact about this movie, unrelated to anything that we're talking about other than the end of the film, is that the crew really wanted to do a fun little prank on Steven Spielberg at the end, and throw him into the water to celebrate finishing filming, because this filming experience was such a slog, because it was supposed to be like 50 days of filming and it ended up being like 160 days of filming. And you know, they just had like so many problems left and right. And so to really try and dissuade everyone, apparently, that's actually a really good use of that word, because what I'm gonna say next is he wore a bunch of like suede in his outfit and like leather or something, so that he would be like, you can't get me wet, my clothes will be ruined. But also he still didn't risk it, and as soon as they had the last shot lined up, he like hopped on a special boat he had arranged that took him to shore so that he could fly to Los Angeles and be gone. He said, you finished, wrap up without me.
no
You guys have got
fun.
it from here. I'm away.
He's no fucking fun.
Apparently
He's
he
just
jumped
gonna
into
get
the
a little
boat. Wait,
splash.
this is fun. Apparently he jumped into the boat and, comma, as it sped off, comma, shouted, that's a wrap. I shall not return.
So
So
he
that
was
is
like,
fun.
so long, suckers. That's
I
essentially
shall
what
not
you're saying.
return. Yeah.
I
Then he had a
redact
lot of
what I
nightmares, and
said.
he slept on a waterbed, and it made him scared because it was like being on a boat.
I mean, and waterbeds are just bad for your back, so I would also get.
But he was
nightmares from that.
28, so maybe his back was fine at the time. He was a youngin' in these days.
I had a friend who had one when we were like little, and that shit like fucked my ass up. I was like 10. There's
Okay.
no
Maybe your
support on a
spine
waterbed.
wasn't- fully
this is like
formed or
so
something.
important to be talking about waterbeds, but I'm interrupting this PSA about waterbeds to talk about
Okay.
Jaws 3D.
Tell me
Because
more.
I have been IMDb searching the other films just to understand a little bit about what's going on. We're skipping Jaws 2. I don't care. Jaws
not my
3D
business.
came out in 83. Lots of threes going on. The tagline here says, "The third dimension is terror," which I love. And this is the little log line here on IMDb. A giant 35-foot shark, it's
Oh.
10 feet bigger, becomes trapped in a SeaWorld theme park. And it's up to the sons of Chief of Police Brody to rescue everyone. Wait, there's more. Wait, who is starring in the film? It's Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid plays Mike Brody, the son of Brody. We gotta watch it.
We watch it. Maybe we do Sharky 2 weeks.
This sounds amazing.
Sorry, Final Destination 3. You'll have to wait.
We're going straight into Shark 3D. The third dimension is terror. Oh my God. I'm euphoric. Anyway, it's probably so bad, but will I be watching it? Absolutely. Anyway, what's our other segment? Do we have another one? Oh yeah, 9s out of 5s.
Monica's just missing all the segments these last couple weeks.
Okay, well, I didn't forget Maddie Lily this time, so I'm getting a little bit better. But sorry, can you blame me? I'm having heart palpitations after hearing about Dennis Quaid in Jaws 3D.
It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to process.
Leah Thompson is also in Jaws 3D too.
From Switched at Birth?
Yeah.
But
Big,
probably more
big
people know her
star-studded
from,
cast.
It has
Back to the
an
Future.
11% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm watching it.
wow,
Anyway.
I'm intrigued. You're selling me on this project.
Wait. Okay, before we review Jaws 3D, what did people think about Jaws, the OG?
Compared to Jaws 3D's 11% on Rotten Tomatoes, and this movie, I'll go a little bit backwards. It has a 98% fresh from critics, which super high.
Yeah.
And then it has 90% fresh from audiences. On IMDb, it has 8.1 out of 10, and it won 3 Oscars, one for Best Sound, one for Best Film Editing, and one for Best Music / Original Score. It was also nominated for Best Picture, but did not win. And it won, most importantly, the 1976 People's Choice Awards for Favorite Motion Picture.
Very important.
Yeah, very important.
The people need to speak. The people
They
need to be
do.
heard.
Okay, well, we didn't even talk about the music, so I'll say that as part of my review for this. The music fucking slaps. Apparently, Steven Spielberg thought it was a joke at first.
I don't understand
Spat
that.
in John Williams' face like a bitch. He didn't spit in his face, but he was like, "Ha ha, that's a funny joke, John. Where's the real song?" Okay, sometimes minimalism is great. You have a maximalist ending with the explodey shark. We have minimalist music, and it's beautiful. So let us have this. But like, isn't it crazy that John Williams wrote the theme songs for Sharks Everywhere for the rest of time?
And
It honestly
also,
is pretty impressive.
That's big.
me sneaking up to people unsuspectedly biting them too.
Yes, that thing that Sydney does.
I am a biter.
It's iconic. It's super iconic. I mean, this movie is iconic. It started so many things. It had so many firsts. Like it made people afraid of sharks. That's a bad thing. I would say that's a bad thing.
It was the
led to
first
shark death.
blockbuster.
That's a bad thing. It was the first blockbuster. That's a good thing. I guess that's exciting.
Ben said that, and I had read that on the IMDb trivia, but then he said it was like literally people lining up down the blocks had never happened before. And I was like, that's where that term comes from. It had never occurred to me to question it before.
Me either. So thank you, Benjamin, for educating us.
I didn't think about that till now.
Isn't that interesting?
my
That
God.
connection?
Wow.
Blockbuster.
Isn't that weird when
busted
you
that
find out why
block.
words are words and then you're like, fuck. Anyway.
When you really think about it, like, oh, dishwasher, it washes my dishes.
So literal. But anyway, the other thing that this movie did, what was it? Hold on, give me 1 second. Pause. I had a thought. I had such a good plan for what I was going to say in my review, and I forgot it all because I was thinking my mind got so blown by Blockbuster. Fuck.
I'm gonna keep all this in.
No, don't.
This is music. Hold
This is
music.
not helping you to think, Chelsea.
Oh, excuse me. Everybody silent for Monica. Shh, shh. Monica's thinking.
I'm really trying
Listeners,
so hard.
listeners, we gotta be quiet for Monica to think.
Shut
Everybody
up.
shut
You
up.
have to cut this out.
I'm not cutting this.
It's gone on for too long.
Monica's
can't
committed
think
to
at
the
all.
bit now. Okay, Chelsea, would you like to give your thoughts so Monica can think?
No, I
want
want to keep waiting for Monica to come up with whatever she was going to. Shall I run through every single piece
Oh,
of
I
IMDb
remembered. I remembered. I remembered, and it's worth it. Okay.
Monica was
This
like,
is
Chelsea
the-
cannot steal my thunder. I must get it back.
Okay, I remembered the thing. Thank you. The threat of Chelsea talking. I'm kidding. I'm talking. You should have seen the look on her face. Okay, no, I remember. It was just a joke. This movie apparently created the villain POV trope. Like, it created that because they couldn't shoot a lot of shit of Bruce the Shark. They did a lot of shark o vision, a la snake o vision from Anaconda. And so that started that whole thing. Like, this was the first villain POV. They say it's Halloween or whatever the fuck, or maybe it was Black Christmas it was Black Christmas. That came out in 74.
But
Wow.
for animals.
God.
waited all this time for that?
Oh my God, I got lied to. Sorry.
They did
I'm
invent a bunch of
sorry.
stuff though. They made a glass case for the camera to go in the water and be partially submerged to film those shots. And they are they have this zoom that they do that's the reverse of the Hitchcock zoom basically, but it got dubbed the Jaws zoom, where it's in Hitchcock I don't know which is which, but in one of them they're zooming in as the camera's pulling back, and then the other one they're zooming out as the camera's moving forward. And one was in Vertigo to be spooky, scary, hi, it's scary, and then the other one is in this to be there's something in the water. So.
Yeah, I mean it's an incredibly groundbreaking film. It's too long, and I got bored in the middle of it because it was no longer a horror movie and it turned into an adventure movie. That said, I loved it still. It's fantastic. I'm gonna give it a 4.8 because it's not my favorite and it damaged the shark community.
It deserves to pay reparations for that.
I should give it lower than that, but it's just so good, but besides the whole it led to the deaths of thousands of sharks thing.
It led to a whale getting beaten to death on a beach. So
that is horrible. I did not know that.
Shark.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely very upset to hear that.
I'm sorry.
Continue with your review. I hate that piece of knowledge that I now have.
My bad. I didn't make it up though, so I don't really actually feel I should take responsibility.
It's not your fault. I'm just angry. You don't need to take responsibility.
You're rightfully so.
You didn't
righteous anger.
Well, did you?
I would.
Chelsea was the one who beat up the whale. Actually,
look, I could take a whale.
Chelsea's
probably
been alive since 1975, and she beat a whale to death in response to Jaws.
That's why she looks so young and beautiful, because she traded a life of the whale.
I bathe in whale blood to stay young and fresh and hot.
Horrifying. What do you think about this movie, Chelsea?
I think that I also watched it in segments because I had seen it before, but it had been a while. So I was surprised by some parts, and I was like, oh yeah. I totally forgot about the doc part, and that moment is so good and so fun. I think that it is long in the sense that when I started the movie and saw that it was 2 hours, I was like, that's too many. But I was very much along for the ride in the middle of it. So in that sense, I was very much rolling with the punches, but I was microdosing the film a little bit. I do think it's just really, really good. I don't know why the adventure theme was there. It felt a little Indiana Jones in the middle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? that was the vibe. And it's like, okay, that is.
I keep mocking the music that they use during that part, and I sing the Indiana Jones theme song because I can't remember exactly. Precisely.
We have to do Indiana Jones one day for Fifth Tuesday.
Indiana
Very
Jones.
down.
Oh, it was John Williams who did Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
He's out here putting in the work, but sometimes a little crossover, it seems. That said, yeah, I mean, I think it's a really wonderfully done movie. I do care about all of the characters. I like all of the in-between bits. I think tonally the music was weird, but other than that, I thought it was fine. I think that they should have kissed on the mouth, so I am gonna dock 0.1 points for no kissies. But I would also give it like a 4.85, maybe. I think it's a classic for a reason, and I think it very much holds its ground. And despite everything that went wrong, so much went right, as it turns out, because I think if they had made the original movie they set out to make, it would not have been as amazing as it turned out to be.
I agree.
They really rolled with the punches in a successful way, I think.
I agree. Sydney, what do you think?
I like this movie, but I refuse to give points other than like 0.5s or whole numbers. I don't know why.
Okay. It's your prerogative,
fine.
baby.
It is. This movie is long. It does get a little boring. There isn't that much shark, but my favorite thing is it's great to watch with people. Know what I mean? Like it's so much fun to watch.
Crowd pleaser.
My family and I, it was like on for 4th of July. So after we'd been like in the lake all day, we were like eating dinner and watching Jaws, and everything that was happening, we were like, ooh, oh, we were like interacting and engaging. And one day I will go to one of the Jaws watching parties where they like put it on a big screen. And you sit in like a float, not in the ocean, but like in a lake. And one day I will do that. Or I will host it at my house.
I just remembered another piece of trivia that I thought was fun. You know, the little boy that does the fake shark out fin thing, and then it's not a real shark.
Oh my God, I was so mad at him.
Yes.
Yeah. Apparently he grew up to be a cop, and one of the crimes that he responded to was somebody doing a fake shark attack like that.
Karma.
Which is just a fun full
that
circle.
Sounds so fake to me,
moment.
But I believe you because you said it. But it sounds
I believe everything that's on IMDb trivia, except there was one thing on IMDb trivia that was like the gray stormy skies you see are the background on the universal lot, and then somebody else was like, no, that's the 4th movie. So some people are on there telling lies, you know.
Anyway,
so this could be a lie. Research for yourself. Jonathan Surley. I just found it.
Anyways, I give this a 4.5 out of 5.
4.5. I think that is very fair. Very, very fair. And that's Jaws, baby. The OG shark
Sharky
movie.
1 week.
Sharky 1 week. Unless we say fuck it and we skip Jaws 2 and go straight to Jaws 3D for next week. We're not doing that.
But you want to know
not doing that.
What other 3rd movie we're doing next week?
We're staying on that 3-3, baby.
It's you.
I already said it earlier,
Chelsea.
but is it me?
You're introducing it.
It's my moment. I step into the spotlight. Yeah, next week we are doing actually not at all arguably, definitively the best Final Destination movie. It is Final Destination 3. Everybody knows. It's Final Destination 3. I'm so excited to revisit it because it's so fun. And I first watched it because I was in my The End phase, if you're familiar with The End from my Degrassi era, and Alex Johnson of Instant Star fame is in Final Destination 3. And so it's just, you know, the tops. It also has Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and she has never done anything wrong in her life.
We love her.
So
she's so hot. Also, we have to say it. It's Final Destination Summer, baby. Okay,
Final Destination
happening.
Summer.
We're
at the height of summer. We're at the height of the Final Destination series.
right. We're at the
It's just
peak
beautiful.
because there's only
With the
2
best
more.
I know, we're midway through already. Be fucking Christ. This summer's going by fast.
Time
That's
passes.
the scariest thing of all, the slow march of time.
True horror.
But why not, take that theme, your impending doom, Final Destination. A Final Destination haiku review would be something that I would love to see. Imagine doing that and somehow incorporating Sydney into it, and then she has it as a tramp stamp for the rest of her life. We didn't decide on where she'd get the tattoo, but she said she'd do it. So the haiku review is still out there. There's a very high prize for doing a good one, okay? Forever being on Sydney's body. You don't
Here's
have to
a
actually
hot
get a
tip
tattoo,
for you.
babe. You really don't have to get the tattoo, babe.
No, she has to. Final Destination 3, that's 7 syllables. So you've got the middle line of your haiku.
Oh my God.
Build around it.
Chelsea's doing the work for you, okay?
Build
So
around it.
you've got no excuse. Also, we're so close to 100 reviews. We're so close. Help us get there, please. Thank you. Anyway, why not follow us on our social media as well? You might not know this, but we went viral this week. So yeah, go on TikTok, look at the video. It is now hidden from public view because it was marked as like harmful for viewers, but whatever. It's
And it was harmful for viewers. So that's fair.
But we have a horror podcast, and so they are targeting us, and it's not fair. But follow us on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, all at spooky_Tuesday. We're also Spooky Tuesday Pod on Facebook and Tumblr, and Spooky Tuesday on Letterboxd. And we have that one YouTube video. Don't you ever forget it. Thank you for listening.
Bye, Spooky.
Bye.
Want to get drunk and fool around?
Oh, yeah.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Haidt, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.